hope she could come back. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. It says adding. Okay.
Okay.
Just when the conversation's getting good.
I'm like, what is going on?
Okay. But we're back. We're good.
Yep, we good.
Okay. Now, getting into the next kind of chunk where we dive a little bit more into the PSC of it all, policies, systems, environment changes. That's kind of what this Rooted in Goodness campaign is about this year. Just talking more about those PSC level changes. So, starting off with the policy, I guess, of it all. Or before we get into that, let's dive a little bit more into the more food related. So, my next question is, how would you define food equity and why does it matter for Indianapolis specifically?
When I think about how would I define food equity, I always think about in real time, like this thought process that everybody having real access to culturally appropriate food, no matter their income, no matter if they have transportation, no matter their zip code, and that it be nutritious food, food that makes sense that should be on their tables, right? Not just
Hmm.
something that you think they should have. And so that's what it is for me. And of course, when I think about Indianapolis, and food access and equitable food. You even in my neighborhood, if I drive 3 or 4 blocks to the left, um, you see this very prominent neighborhood. You can see where people can get to the store. But in this same area, if I drive 3 or 4 blocks to my right, I'm in a desert, right?
Yep.
And so this is the struggle with not just my neighborhood, but all neighborhoods in a lot of the neighborhoods in Indianapolis. Like a matter of blocks makes a big difference. And so, how do we make sure that people, despite their zip code, despite their income, despite if they have a vehicle or not, they still are having culturally appropriate food that is um, worth eating?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is such a barrier for a lot of people, living a certain block or two away. You now are cutting your access to different stores by maybe
Mhm.
half a lot of times because you're so far out of the way now, and then transportation. So what are some of the biggest barriers residents face that you've noticed when it comes to accessing healthy affordable food in the surrounding area, because we know it could be hard to
Yeah.
get to it.
Uh, of course, the main thing, cost, proximity, of course, and then transportation. I was looking at the 2024 census, and it says that 8.3 of our Marion County residents don't have a car, right? And so if you think about, these are individuals that potentially have to get to food. To a full scale grocery store and not a convenience store
Hmm.
by potentially riding the bus. But if they also have a struggle with having to work 2 or 3 jobs, so now here's this barrier of time. And if I'm on city transportation, I can't get where I need to go in a timely manner. And so now I'm stuck going to the local gas station or the local convenience store. While we know those are important in some of our communities, we still understand that this also affects the equitable food, access to food that would be nutrition, have the same level of nutritious value for them.
Yeah. And this, you saying that reminds me of when I was in grad school, when I was going to get my master's at UIndy. One of my classes, we talked all about this barriers and how hard it is for families to get food. And one of the activities that we did was we had to walk from campus all the way to the nearest grocery store.
Hmm.
And our professor had us like buy a few things and then walk back
Carry
with
it back.
all those,
Yes.
yep, with all those groceries just to get like a
And
real life example of how hard it is for families to go and get food and then not have transportation and have to walk with it back, or just those many barriers that so many people go through.
And I think about that when we do our community outreach events, I'm also trying to be very mindful of the things that I try to bring into the communities because of that same situation. Because if I'm walking, am I more inclined to get a gallon of milk, a 5 or 10 pound bag of potatoes, a cabbage, some onions, some apples, the watermelon, the pine, all these heavy things that are nutritious? Or am I
Hmm.
gonna get these ramen noodles? I'm gonna get these chips. I'm gonna get
Yep.
this pasta. I'm gonna get this rice that I can easily put in one bag and carry home. And so I'm always trying to think, how do I bring this fresh fruit and fresh produce and these items into the community, but still not make it a barrier for them to take it? Because me even getting into the community does no good if they struggle to even get it home. And so I'm
Yep.
always thinking like, how do I do this? How does this make sense? What are some of the lighter, smaller things that I could get that are
Yeah.
still nutritious in value, but don't present another obstacle for them?
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. So yeah, just listening to you say that just made me think of that, and which also, maybe there are things, different policies that could maybe help that. But what have you noticed? What kind of local policies have the biggest impact on food access here in Indianapolis?
I think one of the things, of course, that we've been working with this food equity plan that we've been working through over the last few years, and so we've been kind of listening, having these listening conversations, and we just wrapped it up late last year, and so they've really just kind of sent it out a couple of months ago. And one of the things that we're trying to do is listen to the voice of the community and then try to introduce and present policies that are going to be one sustainable
Hmm.
for the community, but are not what we are planning for them, but what they're asking for. And so I know that they're definitely trying to take this food equity lens that we've been working on and spent all this time doing through these conversations and trying to execute that into some policy. So they're still working on that, and I get the advantage of not having to be in that space on the on a
Yeah.
regular. So when I get more information, definitely I'll definitely share with you, because they're really like just now we're ready to start in this. But what we have been able to do in the interim time, of course, is we've been trying to take some of the dollars, if you will, that we do have in this department that go towards helping with policies, and we've been trying to implement some programs that potentially have the ability to be um, put into policies such as Fresh Bucks, right? That's
Yeah.
a program that we do where they don't have to worry from year to year if it's going to be financed. But if we could just get it in a place where we know that every year, here's that $100,000 or that $200,000. So those are kind of the things that we're doing. What incentives and what programs can we be sponsoring with some of these funds that will give enough data and give enough impact and show enough evidence that these are things that need to be sustained on a bigger level than just OPHS giving money to it with as long as we have it. In addition to what we're doing, of course, with our outreach efforts, being able to say every year this is going to be a line item moving forward. So that's what we're uh, supporting right now with those policy dollars.
Yeah, I like how you said that even though, like, there may not be any set in stone policies right now, but things are working toward that. But you said that you're listening to the
Mhm.
community, you're listening to what they're saying, you're listening to what they ask for. And that's honestly one of the most important things. It's good that we can make these decisions, but the people that it's going to affect, you have to make sure that they have some sort of input as well, because if
Yes.
not, then what are we doing it
What are
for?
we doing it for?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, nothing is set in stone just yet, but what's a policy change you love to see passed in Marion County that would like move the needle on food insecurity?
I think for again, just kind of like I was saying, if we could see like for me,
Yeah.
some permanent dedicated funding for food incentive programs such as Fresh Bucks, such as community outreach, such as mobile markets. There's permanent funding for these things that in turn would impact the community because we know these things work. We
Yeah.
know that they will, if families that are able to use the Fresh Bucks incentive where $1 now becomes $2. Families that now these programs where we can get produce from our local growers and then get it right into their hands uh, of our community members, where it doesn't have to take 5 days to get to them. But you're talking about farmers that have picked it, harvested that morning, and by noon you have it on your table. So
Mhm.
the life expectancy of even the and integrity of the produce. So those are the kind of things that I would love to see happen and saying, hey, they don't have to worry from year to year. And right now, that's just where we are because those things are not possible yet. So you say trying to figure it out every year. How can you support this program? We know these things work. How do we make sure that we have enough dollars to support it?
Yeah. Fingers crossed it happens.
Right, right, right,
Yes. Fingers
right. Fingers crossed.
yes. Oh, okay. You mentioned earlier just how you were able just to how you work with so many other people. You don't do all this by yourself. So how, especially when you said like last year you had like 15 to 20 like outreach events in like a matter of like 2 to 3 weeks, which is like so insane. How do you get different systems like healthcare, transportation, housing, etc., to work together around food access instead of everyone just operating by themselves and no one coming together and working?
One of the things that I continue to tell people, I'm like, listen, here's the reality. Food gets people to the room space, right? We
Yeah.
know that. Food, if you tell people you could get 3 bags of groceries or 50 pounds of groceries, they're going to come. But what I always tell them, here's a great opportunity. So while we know that this is an immediate need, it doesn't have to continue to be an immediate need. If we can get somebody there for transportation, then this is a barrier that could be addressed, and now they can be able to work or they can be able to do some other things. If they're struggling with health, and so now they have to
Mhm.
come to a outreach event or a pantry because I can't get my health is bad, so I can't work or these things. So all these things play a part. So if we all come to the table at the same in the same space and place and give them real time resources. That's been my word over the last couple of months. We want to do real time resources. We don't want to give them. I don't want to because I know Destiny works for the Marion County Health Department. I don't want us to keep okay, you've come to my event. Now I'm going to send you to another event, and now Destiny also has to forward you to somebody else, and then that person that's stressful,
Yeah.
and oftentimes that is so dehumanizing and frustrating for the people that we serve. So if we can all come to the table, what do you do well? What do I do well? What do you offer? What do we and how do we help them as a holistic individual? That's going to make all the difference. And so I've been able to um, I'll just use the Hope Team. I attend the Hope Team meetings on a monthly basis. And this is a space where there are so many amazing people who are doing uh, what they're passionate about, the work that they're passionate about. And so being in that space, I've been able to make all these connections in one room. And I'm saying, hey, this is what we need. Here's where we are. And so everybody is collaborating and supporting each other and not doing a one and done type thing. And because now we've built relationships, I'm sending it out. Hey, this is where I'm at. this month. I love for you to show up. Hey, know that you can always come to any event that I'm housing that we're having. We were for July, because again, that was when all these things were coming up. All
Hmm.
of the SNAP changes were going into effect for Marion County, and there was a bunch of changes that people were going to start feeling. So we put out 11 events. 11 events in July. So we were all over the place. And I'm sending out to everybody, hey, come,
Yeah.
because I want you to be there so that if they have questions, I'm an expert in what I do,
Hmm.
but I'm not an expert in what Destiny does. I'm not an expert in housing. I'm not an expert in if somebody veterans affairs, etc. And so having the people there who are the experts that can help them in real time, it's like I'm always for that. And so I'm always going to try to pull every resource that I can to be hands on with people. And so we're also this in September, we're going to be hosting some community conversations. And again, that's just going to be for us to bring people in and have these conversations and listen, so that as we begin to prepare to ask for different policies to put in place, we're not doing things based off of what we think people need or what we
Hmm.
feel people need, but we're doing it off of what they are saying. So,
Yeah. And how amazing is it to you get a ride to an event, and at that event you can get your groceries, you can get your blood pressure checked, you can get all just housing in order, you
yes,
can
yes,
get all this stuff done in one central spot. And you're right, people are leaving feeling more confident knowing like, wow, I just got all this service done here, and it was a one-stop shop. I didn't
yes,
have to, like you
yes,
said, go around to all these different places. And because after a while, you start to lose people.
you
You if
do.
you send them to too many places, they're already gone. And that's not why we're doing what we're doing. So
Exactly,
I love that.
exactly.
I love that. And this isn't a question, but just hearing you talk about it, is it or not is it has it been easy like getting all these people together, or do you find it like a little difficult trying to have all these different people come together at the table to help?
I think it's been more difficult than I would like. I did not realize that we've gotten comfortable. This is my Tequila's personal opinion.
Hmm.
We've gotten more comfortable operating in our own silos, and so to give up my own control, or to give up my own space and have to come into somebody else's space and work with other people, we're not as readily of making ourselves available. And so for
Hmm.
me, that's a little disheartening, but I have a made up mind that I'm going to just keep doing it. I'm going to keep inviting people. I'm going to keep showing up where I need to show up for to, and eventually, hopefully people will, I'll wear them down enough where they'll just say, let me go.
Yeah.
Let me show up. Let me show up, because she's going to keep sending it. She's going to keep asking, because we do them a disservice when we don't try to put our best foot forward.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we like doing just enough.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
more difficult than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's something else that changes soon too. Fingers crossed.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, what role do, because I know it does, what role do grocery stores, corner stores, or even food distributors like gleaners play in the larger food system here? And how do you get them to engage? Because I'm sure if it's hard to get, different community partners to engage,
Hmm.
I'm sure getting food vendors in grocery stores is even harder. So how does that, what does that look like?
Okay, and of course, grocery stores, local owned stores, they're the front line, because they are in some of these communities where they can't necessarily get to a full scale resource store, right? Retail store. But one of the things that we've been putting on our to-do list for this 2026, 2027 year is to be more intentional about building better relationships with these local stores. Like we are in some of the stores where they are doing some of like the Fresh Bucks programs, the safe ways. What if you have
Mhm.
some of the bodegas around the city? So there we are with our partnerships with Marion County Public Health Department. They have boots on the ground who are individuals who are having these conversations, making these relationships, supporting people with even being able to get being able to accept SNAP or different forms of payments. And I think all of that plays a hand. When you're a small store, you might not be able to have all of those resources in a timely manner. So coming alongside of us, or coming alongside some of our partners, and us being able to provide some kind of funding to help get them to be able to accept those resources, it matters. And so they're very important. And one of the things that I've been talking with some of my coworkers about, we were saying, hey, we need to even just continue to, uh, for me, I
Mhm.
live, I live in a area where I say, oh, I live in a food desert, but that is not true, because I
Mhm.
realized on maybe 7 or 8 blocks from me, there is a um, Hispanic store in my neighborhood. So why am I not going in that store? Why do I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a desert when that's a store? A tomato is a tomato. It might be pronounced different, but it's a tomato or a cabbage or peppers or
Yeah.
things of that nature. Even though the branding on the outside might be different, what I need is in the inside, and
Yep.
it's right there. And so that's what I'm tasking myself with soon, is saying, hey, I have got to figure out how to bring awareness to these local cultural stores, right? That
Yeah.
are in some of our communities, that
Yeah.
you don't have to go to the convenience store. While I'm grateful that some of the convenience stores are in these communities, and some of them do have produce and things in there, here's a full retail store that you could be going to. And so that's what I'm hopeful to task myself with over the next 12 months, is to start bringing more words to them, start having these conversations with them. I'm hoping to get some people to help me be able to have these conversations in with the owners of these stores, so that we
Mhm.
can begin to bring more people into the stores and say, hey, this is a tomato, and
Yeah.
this is a cabbage, and it's in your neighborhood. If you walk across the street, you don't have to worry about it. So yeah.
Yes. You're so right, because even hearing you say that makes me think of, like, the African markets that I have by me. And you even mentioned earlier how making sure that people are getting culturally appropriate foods. It's like, well, we have to go into these stores and make our presence known in there and build some sort of relationship with those stores as well. Because like you said, a tomato is a tomato, whether it's
Hmm.
sold at this store or whether it's sold at this huge grocery store. It's going to
Right.
do what it needs to do when you bring it
Yeah,
home.
exactly, exactly. So
That
that's
is-
why I'm like, it is so many. I mean, I've seen more and more here lately, because now I'm thinking about it more. And so
yeah,
I'm starting to really recognize, oh, there's one right there. Oh, there's one right there. Like, why are you passing this store to drive another 10 minutes?
yep,
And fortunate for me, I have access to transportation. But for someone that walks or doesn't, they don't have to go to the gas station. Here's a grocery store
yeah,
that has fresh meat, that has fresh produce, that has fresh vegetables, and is not as expensive as if they went into the gas station or the
yeah.
convenience store. So, yeah.
Wow, I feel like you really just inspired me. I may need to go into those
Me
stores
too. I,
myself.
same way. Same
Yeah.
way. I'm like, this don't make sense. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, like, we may also find that the community may even use those stores more than we know, but we're just not in them, or we just don't
Yep.
have that presence in them. So
Yep.
we don't know. Oh, you got me thinking about some other stuff here.
Me too. I've been thinking too. I've been like, yes.
Yeah.
Take some
Okay.
field trips. You got to invite some of your friends and go on field trips. Me and my coworker, that's what we said we were gonna do. We were gonna go on some field trips, and we gonna buy the food, and we gonna come back, and we gonna post recipes that here's what it says, but this is the recipe in English. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get creative.
I like that. And that's all, that's what it's about. Working in this field, you have to get creative.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Got me thinking. Okay, the environment of the PSC. So we went through the policy a little bit, we went through the systems a little bit. Now we're going to talk more about like environment and infrastructure. So, how does the built environment, things like sidewalks, public transit, or even where grocery stores are located, affect whether people can actually get to healthy food?
I think it definitely plays a part. And of course, as we're um, beginning to have more intentional conversations, especially in our division, we're becoming more aware. I don't think that we have done enough work doing enough mapping, logistical mapping as we
Mhm.
could have, and so we're becoming more aware of that. And as we continue to see all of the work that Indigo is doing and putting things in the nature, it's now coming more prevalent as I'm a daughter of a mother who does not drive. My mother does not drive. And so as she's trying to navigate her way to different places, and I'll be like, oh, mama, you can go this way. But then I'm looking, I'm like, dang, they don't even have a sidewalk. I don't want nothing to happen to her. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, is there a shortcut somewhere? Like, so I'm becoming more aware of that. And so even for us, as we're planning, as we begin to plan our outreach efforts, or when we're planning our outreach efforts, being more mindful. Is there a bus that goes that way?
Hmm.
Is it a parking lot where we don't have to worry about people being in the street or it being unsafe? So those are kind of the conversations that going we're beginning to be more intentional about. I can't, and I'll honestly say that we've thought enough about it, but now we're saying, okay, we really know that this does matter, because who wants to walk down a busy street with their groceries or with their family, with their children
Hmm.
to go get their groceries? Again, it begins to have put up another barrier. And so why would I do that when I can go over here to this gas station or go over here to this fast food and spend my money over here? So now I don't, it's more convenient,
Yeah.
but it's less healthy. And so
Hmm.
that's the thing that we're definitely struggling with. Uh, Oftentimes, the things that are easily accessible are less have less nutritional value, and they don't. The proximity of them is definitely closer, and
Yeah.
so out of convenience, and if I'm tired and this and that, let me just go do this versus being inconvenient or having to overthink, overcompensate for, is it safe? Is it, how long is it going to take? Is this going to make sense? So all those things. So
Yeah. And so, have you noticed if there are any like environmental or infrastructural changes that have made a visible difference in certain neighborhoods?
I have not noticed. I haven't noticed that. So I guess
Yeah.
as I begin, like, of course, even when I got your questions, that's when I was like, and as I was sharing them with our admin, I was like, I don't know the answer to this. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. And she was like, I don't think I do either. So for both of us, even now, again, this makes us, like you were saying earlier, this makes me think like, what is being done? And these are conversations that we need to be having with DMD, because that's not necessarily our area, but what is
Yeah.
DMD doing? What is Indigo doing? Is this playing a part in the conversations that they're having? So it's
Yeah.
definitely making us change our conversations.
For sure. And yeah, and like you said earlier, making sure that they are at the table when having these conversations.
Hmm.
So we know, especially with all the construction that's going on too, it's it's very hard for people, like me who thankfully have transportation, but it just always makes me think of those who don't have transportation. That's even another environmental or infrastructural change that they kind of had to like get used to for the time being, and working around that can be really hard, which I'm happy to be able to see definitely on the east side more community gardens and a lot of those
Hmm.
pop up, so people can have access right in their backyard kind of. But again, like you said, there's just still so much work
It,
that
yes.
that needs to be done.
Yeah. And one of the things that a lot of the local growers who are already kind of established, they're doing a lot more. trainings, a lot more teaching, and teaching people the importance of growing locally, teaching people how to grow in their backyards. Oftentimes you think of, oh, well, I don't have spacing or I don't have enough things. But if I can grow some cabbage, some potatoes, some uh, tomatoes, some staple things, then this is an area that I don't necessarily have to fret about because I'm always going to be able to eat. And so a lot of our growers are doing an amazing job. Not only are they growing for their own families, but they're educating and teaching other community members how to do the same. And so that they don't have that struggle. I was thinking, I, every time I leave the house, I'm thinking, okay, what's going on that I need to decide which way to go, or
Mm-hmm.
how timing wise, how much time is this going to add to my commute, or if I have an outreach event, okay, what's over there? Do I know the way? How many ways can you get to that event? Is there going to be? Are we going to be able to have a turnout because now this is blocked off for us? So all these moving pieces now that you normally didn't have to think about, you're finding yourself now having to think about it because you want to make sure that people have access. Like
Yeah.
you're here, I am trying to decrease barriers, and if I have something somewhere that nobody can get to, I've made another barrier.
Yep.
And so it's like, so yeah.
Yes. Uh, so, of the three, policy, systems, and environment, which one do you think creates the most sustainable change and why?
Mm, let me see. I think,
A hard question.
yeah. Of course, I would then. You know what? I probably would say policy,
Yeah.
because when policy gets in place, that builds sustainable practices, and it's something that you don't have to guess from year to year. and,
Mm,
and so once it's in place, you're saying, okay, this is a given, this is a definite, that now for 5 to 10, 15, forever to come, this will be in place. This is what we can now expect. And so
mm.
sometimes with our environment and things of that nature, things change, things happen, openings and closing, stuff like that. So for me, that probably policy.
Yeah. And that honestly does, yeah, make a lot of sense. Like you said, once that policy is set, it's a domino effect of systems and environment as well. What does true, oh, we're running out of time. I just noticed the time. We are running on time. Um, we have only like really two questions left. So
Okay.
while we answer these, we'll ask those questions. Anyone who's watching, if you guys have any questions for Tequila, please drop them in the comments. Um, what does true community-driven PSC change look like versus solutions that get imposed from the top down?
Well, of course, like I've said before, it is about making sure that it is driven from the people who are being affected by it. It's
Hmm.
not about us coming up with a plan and then presenting it to them. It's about us being in the room and in this creating spaces, being in the room with them where they're identifying what hardships they're facing, what things are enabling them to be successful, and then us working together to come up with solutions for it with them. And I think oftentimes that's what we kind of do. We sit in our offices, or we're on our own soapboxes of what we think they need, and so we try
Hmm.
to execute it. So there's no buy-in, there's no relevancy to it, and so it's one thing after another, and that's why there's a constant change, because we have forgotten to bring them to the table, to create the space for them to have their voice, because they are who matter the most.
Yeah. And honestly, leaving them out of the conversation, we're making it harder for ourselves because if we just listen to them, it would make our job and what we do so much easier if we just listen to what they want and what they need and work on that.
Yes, yes. Like you don't have to create anything, and the
Yeah.
beauty of it, they will tell you exactly what they need. Now, here's the reality. We do a lot of work, and we do amazing things in our communities, right? And so we collect this data, but the data cannot tell the whole story.
Yeah.
It just does not. It gives you a portion of it. But when you get people into this space and you give them the opportunity to have these conversations, you're looking like, oh, I see that it says 38%. but that's only one part of the story. And
Yeah.
then it opens your eyes. Again, for me, it's always about the buy-in. I don't care what it is. Like, I want people to be invested. I want them to have ownership. I want them to know that their voice matters. And so then you begin to be able to tell the real story, not
Mm-hmm.
just your version of the story, because the numbers may make us look good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
their voice is going to tell the truth.
Yeah. Can you share an example of a community driven solution that has made a difference in fighting for food insecurity here in Indy?
I think one of the things these as I'm thinking about the farmers markets, I'm thinking about the double um, W bucks with the fresh bucks and with the farmers markets. I think
Mm-hmm.
that has been monumental in allowing families to take $10 and turn it into $20. The difference between one meal and three meals. So for me, that within itself, and then also being able to allow local growers to build up their programs and what they're doing. And so not only are you giving more access and more fresh produce to families, but then you're also building, allowing this small business to sustain itself, because it's a give and take on both
Yeah.
sides. So for
Yeah.
me, I think the farmers markets, the mobile markets, the opportunities for growers to be able to take part in different projects around the city and be able to sell their produce back into their cities and make money off of their cities with the funding that we might have from different avenues, and being able to say this is the lifespan and the integrity of this produce is nothing like you going to one of these larger retail stores and getting,
Mm-hmm.
because you know what's in it, you know
Yeah.
what it came from. You don't have this issue of oh, you can't eat this.
Yeah.
Right now, some of my friends are like, "Can we go to the garden and get some lettuce?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
Like, "Can I go to the garden and get some tomatoes?" Yep, I saw some on there yesterday. So that concept where
Yeah.
that takes away that anxiety of now what's safe, what's not safe. There's nothing like being able to talk to somebody that grew it
Yeah.
and can
Yeah.
tell you what it is, and then if you don't know how to consume it, even educate you on how to prepare it and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yes. It's so amazing. I prior to me moving out here, I wasn't really familiar with, farmers markets or being able to get my food or produce from the actual grower. So being able to go to, to the grower and get it, like you said, it's just something just so amazing about that. And so many people deserve to have that type of
Yeah, yeah.
access.
Could you even, one of my things to go back to your question, like being able to see a neighborhood food hub where you got local produce, you got individuals doing value added products, you got individuals who can aggregate produce, and we put it together, and now we can sell it for at a wholesale price. So all these things happening in these neighborhoods, right,
Mhm.
where it benefits the neighborhood.
Yep.
And so not at this time, of course, we're not talking about these big old food hubs, but just even these neighborhoods where we're giving and taking and we're bartering. And okay, you got some greens, I got some cabbage, you got some potatoes,
Yep.
we come together, now we got a meal. And
Yep.
so those type of things that could be happening, and because of the community driven solutions, like this is what they want to see. This was very instrumental in our as we've been having our community conversations when they were doing the food equity plan. Like, this is what people are talking about. They want things that they want in their neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
like. And so because this is what I want in my neighborhood, this is what we know will benefit us. And so how do we get them there?
Yeah.
How do we help find solutions for them where it makes sense for them and not necessarily for my neighborhood?
Yeah. Oh, wow. If only we had more time. If only we had more time. I know
Yeah.
we have like a minute or two left. I don't see any questions coming in the comments, but I do have some like quick wrap up questions
Okay.
just so people can learn more. First one, is there a hotline, website, or office people can contact if they need help finding food resources?
Absolutely. Of course, they can do 211. And you can always reach out to 211. And then one of our partners, Indy Hunger Network, you can also reach out to them.
Okay. Are there any upcoming events, resource fairs, or
Yes.
programs happening? Yep. Tell the
Upcoming
people.
events. This coming Saturday, we will be at the Match High School off of Indiana Avenue. That event will be, I think they're happening at 10 o'clock. So they're going to have enough food for about 150, 200 families. You don't need any ID or anything like that to show up. And Destiny, I'll make sure you have that flyer so you can post it. So if they
Yes.
want to revisit, they can see exactly where it is. We have one on the 15th, and then we have another one on the 22nd, and that's going to be with the Indiana Council on Education for Black students, and that's going to be on East 38th Street. So I don't have that in front of me, but I want to make sure that you have it, Destiny, so that they can
Yeah.
in turn show up and get you some food. Let me see. I think I just put it up. So on this coming Saturday, again, it's at 1401 Indiana Avenue, and it is from 10 to 1, or while
Yes.
supplies last. And then on Saturday the 22nd, it is at 4900 East 38th Street, and that also will start at 10 o'clock.
Perfect. Yes. And send them to me.
I
Send me
will.
any and everything, and we will post it on our Instagram, on our Facebook,
Perfect.
where I can email it out to my network,
Perfect,
send it
perfect,
right
perfect.
along.
I will.
Yes.
And like I
Perfect.
told you before, we have some in September is National Anti-Hunger Month, and so we're going to be doing this whole series on. We're going to be having some food distributions, a few food distributions, but we'll also be having some community conversations. So I'll make sure to share that out with you also, so that you can post that and share it with your network.
Perfect. Oh, well, thank you so much,
You're
Tequila, for the
welcome.
conversation. This has been such a quick hour, but a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you.
Yes. I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
All righty. Have an amazing day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.